What is up, everybody? It is Drew, Travel Liberty Biss here with another video, and I'm going to be doing some test hands with dinos. All of them will pretty much be blind second. That way you can see what we can do going second, and hopefully it, kind of teaches you something, so you can learn a little bit about how this deck functions, and maybe want to go ahead and try it yourself. So let's go ahead and dive into some dino test hands. All right, so let me just mix this up a couple more times, and then we will go ahead and get into the portion that everybody is here to see. All right, hopefully this is good enough. On the regular shuffles, I'm gonna do a quick little power shuffle here, just so I can make sure this is really mixed, because I did have it in new order before I started recording, so I should probably make sure that this is mixed up so the hands aren't that bad. The list is a little different from the deck profile, but that's okay. I'm not going to do an updated list on something I just uploaded a week ago. You can go ahead and make changes however you'd like. Do not just copy paste everything that you see, especially in this game. You have to be a little bit creative sometimes. I'll go ahead and give this a few cuts here. And let's start with drawing 5, even though we're going second. There's 5. And then we will get to draw our 6th card, which is a copy of Gamma. So, there's a lot that can be done here. Notably, Gamma being such a good card, if your opponent were to try and do something at the start of your turn, you can always Gamma them, which is really, really neat. It doesn't really make a difference when they do it because you have no monsters on your field. So let's just assume that our opponent tries to use like a Shangri-Ira to summon. You can negate with the Gamma, and you get to special summon this, and you get to summon the driver from your hand deck or graveyard, which is obviously really, really good. So yeah, so this hits the board, and we also get a driver. And we're just assuming this is random stuff that happens. If it doesn't happen, then obviously you just move into the normal phases of your turn like you would. But we now have this on field, which is not bad. We can then synchro summon if we'd like, depending on what our opponent has. Obviously, if we're playing against like Kashtira and they have a Rise Heart, these would get banished, but whatever. We're just kind of running with it. We summon an Omega. Let's just assume we're in that scenario right now, and we have like, actually I think I have some of these. Give me 1 second. We're gonna assume that we've got a few of our zones locked. So let me actually change this up a little bit. I got these from my locals. Let's just assume we have like 3 zones locked. So we summon the Omega, then we can activate the Omega, which is obviously pretty sweet. And now they lose a card from their hand. We can activate Lost World, normal the Ovi, Chainlink 1 Ovi, Chainlink 2 Lost World. We give them a token, and we get to search. So we're going to grab Dogoran, and from here we can tribute over their Shangri-Ira or Rise Heart, whatever they have, and then we are unlocked if we tribute over something like Shangri-Ira, which is pretty sweet. Then we can go like battle phase, so you can attempt to attack the token, and then you avoid the destruction. And because you've gotten rid of their Rise Heart or Shangri-Ira or whatever, let's just assume that it was the Rise Heart that we tributed over, okay? So we destroy the baby from deck. Baby then triggers to summon pretty much anything out that you need to summon. But it's very situational. In this case, I'm going to just summon a Misk, because Misk is really, really good. Now I'm actually going to put this token in the center here because I'm going to end up having to use the extra monster zone. I just have to like fully display everything for you guys to see. But from here we have multiple options we can do. Depending on their board, we can always exciton them, which is kind of good. Like it can be really, really good. We have a lot of things that we can do, so I just want to kind of show you guys my extra deck. That way you can see the amount of options that we have here. Perfect. From here, we can link these two. I think linking these two is a pretty good idea. So we link both of these, and let's make like a Nightmare Phoenix. Now keep in mind, we're just freestyling here. We're just assuming that they have random stuff. So don't take anything for granted. So we use like a Nightmare Phoenix, and we discard a Giant Rex, and we pop one of their back rows. And then we can use a copy of Misk, banishing itself, to summon out a copy of Archosaur. And then Archosaur can trigger, pop the baby in hand. We can search for double evolution pill. Cool. And then our baby can go off, and we can get what we need here. So let's just grab like a Scrap Raptor. The Scrap Raptor's not that bad. All right. From here, there's a lot that we can do. So this is kind of where it gets a little trickier, I guess. But what I would suggest in like a situation like this, if you got the zone locks, is you link those for Unicorn. And then Unicorn discards the double evolution pill because you've already got a conductor in hand. So now if you do that and you shuffle their Sangre Era, all of your zones are open back up, you know, the good stuff. And we can special summon our conductor by banishing like a Giant Rex and let's go with an Archosaur. And then our Giant Rex will trigger to come back to the board. From here you have a few options that you can do. It's kind of your preference as to what you want to do. But in a situation like this, it's not a terrible idea to do scrap combos. You can also go into a bunch of other stuff too. Keep in mind this scenario, I did use my battle phase to start everything by attacking the token they have with my Oviraptor. So that's the point where you kind of have to determine, okay, what do I want to do? Because you can Scrap Raptor to pop to get an additional normal during the turn of a scrap monster. You can do a lot of other stuff. So in this scenario, let's try going with Scrap Raptor linking with the Nightmare Unicorn. And we'll make a copy of Scrap Wyvern. Wyvern effect, revive the Raptor and pop the Raptor. And then chainlink one Wyvern, chainlink two Raptor. So basically we're going to get to add the Chimera and special summon Scrap Raptor. And because we special summoned from the Wyvern, we pop a card in the field. So at this point we could like pop our opponent's Dogerin or whatever else they have that could be a threat. From here, you can get your additional normal of Chimera, which will then special summon Raptor out. From here, we're probably going to link these off and make like an Appaloosa. And then these can either get overlaid or synchroed, depending on what you want to do. You have the option of going to Dolka, you have the option of going to Logia, or you can go into Savage, and the Savage would probably equip the Nightmare Unicorn. So whatever route you want to go, that's totally up to you. Also keep in mind we still have an Omega too that will come back. So yeah, that's a pretty good first hand. Let's go ahead and do another. All right, so we're gonna go into test hand number 2 here. Hopefully it's just as good as the first one where we can break a board. All right. Start with 5. We have hand traps, so there's obviously the ability to do stuff on our opponent's turn. That's, you know, pretty sweet. So if we're playing against something like Kashtira, they may special summon like a unicorn or a Fenrir and try and activate, and then you can just go imperm. That's actually really good. A lot of times that can completely shut their turn off, as crazy as that sounds. So let's just assume that the imperm was enough. And then we draw for turn. We draw called by, which is sweet. From here, we have the option of either normaling Ovi or normaling the Archosaur. I'm going to go with Ovi here and then activate the effect of Ovi. And we're going to search. If they try and ash it, you just called by, which is pretty simple. We grab Misk, and then we activate Misk from hand. And then we can banish the Misk to get its graveyard effect. And we're going to go for the Archosaur now. And the Archosaur will pop the baby. Baby hits grave, and we will obviously get to search off of the Archosaur for double evolution pill. And then baby triggers, and we get to special summon another baby, which is probably your best choice. So let me just make sure this is all straightened out a little bit. Cool. So at this point, it would be intelligent to Ovi, you know, pop the baby to special baby back. And then the baby engrave will trigger, which can get us a copy of Scrap Raptor. All right, so Scrap Raptor is now on the board. Scrap Raptor can pop the baby, which is pretty sweet. And then baby effect can trigger. That will get us a copy of... I went past it. I didn't even realize I went past it. Giant Rex. Cool. So, now at this point, we have options as to what we want to do. I like to link the Archosaur for Link Kribo. And then the Link Kribo and Scrap Raptor will make a copy of Wyvern. What you can do too, and I messed this up, the Giant Rex shouldn't have been Giant Rex. It actually should have been the other baby. There we go, that's better. My apologies there. So the Wyvern brings out the Raptor, and then the Raptor gets popped, and then Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. So we get to search for Chimera, and then special summon the other Raptor. So Chimera to hand, and Raptor hits the board. So this is what we got going on right now. The Scrap Wyvern then has to pop a card, so you pop the baby, and then baby triggers to summon out the Giant Rex that we were talking about before. So I was one step ahead of myself. Now from here, in my opinion, the smart thing to do would be to just kind of like continue comboing off, because you're still like under Misk, so nothing is really getting affected other than the Scrap Wyvern. So you don't have to set up like a negate, but you normal your Chimera and special the Raptor. The reason we summon Chimera, and I should have explained this a little more before, is that because Raptor gives you an additional normal summon if you pop a card, which I did earlier in the turn. So yeah, that's why that's happening, in case anybody is like, what's going on? I thought you normal summoned. Yeah, I have an extra one because of Scrap Raptor. So from here, we can do some really cool stuff. So what I like to do is I like to link the Rex, the Chimera, and the Wyvern for Appaloosa, which will have 3 negates currently. From here, we're going to activate double evolution pill, banishing something like Giant Rex, and let's just go with like Scrap Chimera. That will summon out Conductor. And after that resolves, oops, that goes to grave. After that resolves, the Giant Rex will trigger to special summon itself. we can then synchro these and make a copy of Savage. And Savage's effect will go off, which will equip either the Scrap Wyvern or the Linkuriboh. The Wyvern is probably your best bet because it's going to give it more stats and an additional negation. From here, you have the option of doing a lot with these two. You can, you can go into a Lambda, you can go into an XYZ, you can go into an Omega. It's kind of whatever you want to do. Me personally, in this scenario, we have 3 monster negates and 1 Omni. I would probably want to set up 1 other Omni, so I'd probably make something like a Logia. Then you can set called by and pass. Well, I'm sorry, you're going second, so you'd actually put this in attack, and then you'd go battle phase and you'd, swing with a bunch of stuff. This would actually end up being access code if you're going second. But yeah, going first, going second, doesn't matter. You could even make this still going second, just in case they have like battle phase effects or something. You can actually still play around it. You can also use your conductor if they have monsters to destroy the Archosaur in hand to book their field. Then you can just like send stuff and hit them for 1,000. And then on top of that, you still have all these on board, which right now this is at 3850, this is at 24, and this is 24. So these 3 alone is huge. It should be more than enough for game on top of whatever you're getting off of conductor. So yeah, going first, going second, doesn't matter. Even going second, making Appaloosa isn't bad. If you have to clear a board, you make the access code. And even then, you're only going to be popping 1 card on their field because you only have 1 left, unless you make something like Omega instead of Savage, which I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that. But hey, to each their own. You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, that's test stand number 2. Still really sweet. Let's do another one. All right, so another test hand here, and I think that'll kind of conclude the video because I think that I went pretty in depth with most of the explanations there. I don't think, it needs much more explaining than what I've done so far, because you just kind of make a big board and you break your opponent's board apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, not fantastic. So this would be decent still going second. It's not the worst thing in the world. You can imperm them, and assuming that cuts them off, then fantastic. If it does, we draw for turn. We got a Dogrin. Let's assume they still have something. So we Dogrin over whatever they have. Cool. Now they have no more threats on the board. They have a Dogrin, but they don't. Let's just assume they don't have any other threats. So we go terraforming. Let's say it goes through and they don't have something like an Ash, which I don't know why you really Ash terraforming most of the time, unless it's like the last card in your opponent's hand. If your opponent activates terraforming and they have 3 other cards not included in terraforming, you probably shouldn't Ash it unless you know for a fact what they have in their hand. That's just my opinion, but yeah. Then we're going to activate the Lost World. Now, here we have a decision on whether or not we want a Prosperity or we just want a normal baby. So here's the thing. If we Prosperity, they're only going to take half damage for the turn. We really don't know if we can hit anything that's worth hitting from the top of the deck. But at the same time, normal baby means that our battle phase is going to be subpar and we can't OTK them this turn. Regardless, we can't even hit them for damage, really. So in my opinion, Prosperity is probably the better bet, just to kind of get the ball rolling. So because we're trying to OTK, and you have to figure out, okay, how am I going to like push through this and push for an OTK when I can only do half damage, or how can I get as much damage? You should get rid of the Exciton because it's not really needed. Secure Gardena isn't that important. I would say Lambda isn't important in this scenario. Appaloosa isn't super important. So we're already at 4 with what we have going on here. And then we just have to figure out 2 more. So let's say that like Omega isn't that important because it really isn't right now. And then the last card that I think we could probably afford to kind of dump is like a Nightmare Phoenix. So let's assume these are the 6 that we get rid of. and then we reveal 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, thank God Ovi was the last card that we flipped there. So this isn't terrible. Even without the Ovi, we could grab like Dark Hole, we could grab Conductor. Like, we still have stuff to set up a board, but the Ovi is fantastic. So now we normal Ovi, Chainlink 1 Ovi, Chainlink 2 Lost World. So our opponent gets the token first. There's their token. And then we get to search for a copy of Misk. Then we can activate Misk, discarding it, and then we can use the banish effect to summon a copy of our Archosaur. Cool. Archosaur will pop Baby and grab the other double evolution pill, and then Baby will trigger to summon another Baby. Overraptor, target Baby to, revive. I'm not gonna flip him around, there's no point, but then a Baby will trigger Engrave to summon Scrap Raptor. Scrap Raptor can pop Baby. Baby triggers Engrave again, getting out another Baby. Cool. Let's link this for Link Haribo, and then we can link this and the Scrap Raptor for Wyvern. Wyvern, revive the Raptor, pop the Raptor, and then Wyvern 1, Raptor 2. Get to do our scrap combo stuff. So this comes to hand, this hits board, and then we pop a card, which is Baby, and then Baby effect will trigger Engrave to summon Giant Rex. And at this point, because we want to push for as much damage as possible, I'm going to link the Wyvern and Giant Rex for Unicorn. Then Unicorn, discard one of our evolution pills to shuffle like Dogrin or something, whatever. So Dogrin gets shuffled. Cool. And then we can use our double evolution pill that we have in hand, banishing our Giant Rex, and let's go for the Link Haribo. And we will summon out Conductor. That'll also trigger our Giant Rex Engrave, which will summon out to the board. From this point, you are going to probably just start going off into something like an access code. But what I would do to kind of get the ball rolling here is I would synchro these two first, and make Savage. And Savage is going to equip Scrap Wyvern. You can then normal Chimera, because we have the additional normal from Scrap, and then you'll revive the Raptor. From here, you can take these two and you can synchro them, you can link them, whatever. Or I'm sorry, link them, not synchro. I'm speaking out of my ass here. You make the access code when the Unicorn will boost it, so it's at 53. From here, you are probably going to overlay these two, and you're going to do one of a few different things. To me, like, there's different routes you can go. You can do a Dugaris to really hit for a lot of damage. You just have to calculate it properly. So, like, in this scenario, we know we can pop a card, so let's just remove the Unicorn from play. Let's say that the token is the last monster on their field. At this point, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage, even with Prosperity up. So we can overlay these two, and we can do math in our head beforehand. So if you know the math is there beforehand, this is where it comes in handy. So this is at 53. This is at 3850. So that's already going to be a good amount of damage. So 53 and 38. 3850, I'm sorry, is going to be 9150 plus 35, that's 12,550. Now if you overlay for Dugaris and you use Dugaris' effect and you detach, you can double his attack. So now he's at 7k. So yeah, this is going to be crazy because that's going to be 35 plus 6. So keep in mind we have prosperity that has halved everything. So I'm just going to pull all this up on a calculator because I worked today and my brain does not want to do any more math than I already did. So we have 1,200 plus 7,000 plus 3,850 plus 5,300. So it's 17,350. Cut it in half, which is going to be over 8,000. So you can still actually hit for lethal here. This is still lethal, even with prosperity, which is crazy. It's really, really crazy. Even if you have to like book stuff or whatever, you can pop this or whatever and still go off. Like this is crazy. I mean, you're looking at lethal damage through prosperity and everything. Actually, no, you're not. I'm sorry, my math is incorrect. Hold on a second. We actually don't have enough. And the reason that we don't have enough is because we have Lost World on the field. So we're just gonna stop right there. I completely forgot we had Lost World up. That's actually very important. So all these guys, other than this, lose 500 attack. So currently we actually have, this is 3,350. So 3,350 plus 4,800 plus 7,000 still, plus 600, and then we divide that by 2. We're not going to have enough. We're literally 125 life points short, which is very, very sad. But it doesn't even matter because we're going to be able to book their whole field on their turn. And we have an Omni Negate up, so the chances of them actually stopping what we have are so slim to none that when it comes back to our turn, we're going to be able to swing at one of their set cards again. We would draw a Gamma, which doesn't do anything, but yeah, this even though it's literally so close to lethal, you're still going to win on the crackback. Like, it's very, very unlikely that they will be able to play through this. But yeah, let's do one more test hand and then we'll call it at that. All right, so if you're watching right now, you're seeing into the mind of my mistakes. Ooh. So you could OTK in what I just showed you. You just double the access codes attack because that makes him 10,600. And then if you add everything else on the field together, you'll have over 18,000. Or yeah, no, over 16,000 for sure. Over 18,000, which is more than enough. Yeah, I think my math was just off in my head. Yeah, but you have more than enough damage there pretty much to do essentially whatever you want to do. I mean, you're looking at a lot of buildup of points. But yeah, that's a mistake on my part, but hopefully that clears things up. All right, so last test hand of the video. This is going very, very well so far. Let's hopefully end on something that looks at least, you know, like the last 3 hands have looked, because that would be pretty darn sweet. All right, let's grab 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we will draw for turn, no hand traps. We draw driver, that's not fun. But let's start with Dark Hole, baby. We just got a Dark Hole. That's pretty good. Dark Hole has now been dropped. Their board has been nuked, and we are ready to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! We're gonna go with the prosperity. We are going second again, so let's go for something similar to last time. Their board is pretty much gone, so Exton isn't necessary, and we didn't draw the Gamma. So there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cool. It's probably smart to grab baby here. That would make a lot of sense. And then we can normal OV, activate the effect. If they have Ash, we have called by. The only thing we can't really stop is imperm there. But we search for our misc. Wherever misc is, there. Activate the misc in hand, and then the graveyard effect banish. Or we hold the called by for if they try and Ash it there, obviously. Now we get our Animadorn, which pops the baby in hand. This should all look familiar. I'm literally doing the same thing that I've done like the last 3 combos. Baby Engrave trigger summons a baby. This target this, summon that, which I'm not gonna flip them around, same thing. Then baby would trigger Engrave again. Summoning out the Scrap Raptor. Scrap Raptor pop the baby for an additional normal. Baby effect Engrave triggers. Getting out a last copy of baby. This becomes Link Karibo. Link Karibo and Scrap Raptor turn into Wyvern. Wyvern revives Raptor and then pops it. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. We get to search for a Chimera, special Raptor, pop the baby, baby effect, summon the Giant Rex. All right, there we go. We have our additional normal Chimera. We get the effect, summon the Scrap Raptor. From here, these can do whatever you need them to do. Let's go ahead and do the Giant Rex and that for like a Unicorn. Assume they have back row. Unicorn can discard Driver because we don't need Driver, obviously. And then we can link these two for access code. Access code will target the Unicorn, so he gains. And then we banish this to go ahead and pop a card. And then we can banish the Link Karibo. Oh no, we can't, because that's actually another dark. So you could banish the Wyvern, but that's not really good because we're going to need it to equip it to Savage. So we're going to activate Double Evolution Pill, which will banish our Scrap Chimera and our Giant Rex. And that'll summon out Tyranno. Cool. Giant Rex will summon itself. From here, we can synchro these two. And we can make Savage. And I banished the Unicorn. You can keep the Unicorn and banish the Wyvern instead if you want, because if you do that, then this gets equipped with it, which is probably smarter. I'm just rushing through this. But yeah, you banish that instead to do the pop. And that actually allows you to also pop with the Link Karibo as well, because you'd be banishing an Earth and a Dark. And you still get to equip a big monster to Savage. And then from there, we can do what I did in the last combo. We can go for the Dugares, and we could double this, double that, whatever we want to double. And you can just swing for big damage. That was something that I want to point out in the combo prior, so I want to go ahead and show this to you guys. Double attack one monster you controlled till the end of this turn. If you doubled the access code instead of this, you would have had you know, more than enough for game, and I did that improperly in the last combo, so please, you know, be forewarned. I think I will make a little note of that immediately after that combo, so you're probably literally seeing into the future when you're already in the future, but you're looking into the past. I don't know, it's a little weird. But yeah, you have more than enough to kill your opponent here, like absolutely more than enough. You can double this, double that, whatever you need to double. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully everybody learned something from this, and hopefully you want to become a Dino DNA expert, much like everybody else. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload more cool and awesome content like the video you just watched. And for right now, this is Drew, Travel at a Burning Best, signing out.